Walking bass lines are the backbone of many musical genres, from jazz to blues to rock. They provide a rhythmic and harmonic foundation that keeps the music moving forward. In this episode, the third part of the series, we're advancing your techniques to elevate your walking bass lines. We're talking real interest, very musical, chromatic approach, leading tones, and rhythmic variations. Yeah, you're ready to elevate. Let's get nerdy. I'm Andy Schneider, career musician turned guitar coach, producer, and author of hundreds of books for my publishing company, Seeing Music Books. I was a high school band nerd, then a devoted jazz guy, and then a backing musician for great artists in every type of music. From Austin to Nashville to New York City, I've learned from my musical experiences and the great musicians that were there with me. I'm a self-taught guitarist, but I was lucky enough to get the right bits of education early on in my career. Pairing that with the many conversations I've shared with more experienced musicians put me on the path to success, a path that built my skills to become the experienced, confident musician audiences enjoy today. I created the Guitar Nerd podcast to give you simple steps to building and growing your musical knowledge, having greater abilities, and getting that amazing music that's inside of you out and into the world where we can all enjoy it. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced guitar or bass player, if you want to make fantastic music, you're in the right place, my friend. Now, let's get nerdy. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another week of Guitar Nerd. I am Guitar Nerd numero uno. My name is Andy Schneider. This is the place where we talk all the bass stuff, all the guitar stuff, all the stuff that makes us nerds for great string music. Yeah, it takes a lot. Technique, theory knowledge, right? And equipment. Yeah. Well, today is going to be technique. We're going to be talking about bass lines and how they're absolutely fundamental to so much of music. You just got to have them, whether you're a guitar player or a bass player. Yeah, guitar players need bass parts too. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, you'll always hear a guitar part somewhere in rock and roll going ba-da-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. What do you think that is? That's a walking bass line. Yeah, just played on a guitar. Whether you're new to playing or have lots of experience, I hope you're going to find something here this week to energize your music, to take you to the next level. Last week, we talked about easy octave upgrades. Were you with us? I'm always a value guy. I'm of the mind of how can I get a whole lot without having to put my backbone into. It's not that I'm lazy. I just like easy moves that actually work, that sound great, that take you to the next level. Because as musicians, we've got a lot on our plate. In the heat of an actual gig, we've got a lot on our minds. It's important to have little simple steps that sound great. They seem like a magic trick. They're so musical, but they're easy to perform. Octaves are a great way to double the value of whatever you're playing, right? You might play a riff down low, do 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 do, and then play it one octave higher, do 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 do, and all of a sudden double your money, right? Double the effect. That's what easy octave upgrades was all about. That was last episode 33. Go check that one out. But today, we're talking about our continuing journey into walking bass lines, something that is very near and dear to me because I've made quite a few dollars walking bass lines for everybody from rock and roll to old-time big band stuff, small jazz combos, pop music. Yeah, there's always a walking bass part needed, isn't there? It's all about the bass, the lady said. Well, this is part 3, focusing on chromatic approach. Yeah, using leading tones. Do you know what those are? It's kind of like a connect the dots of your notes. And also some rhythmic variations that we can throw in there that just pep things up and give it a little push when you need a little push to get the wheel to go. Walking bass lines are all about creating a smooth, flowing movement from one chord to the next. As I've said before, bass lines are like chords. They're like chords, but chords played one note at a time. Guitar players, keyboard players, they have lots and lots of fingers. They get to play lots and lots of notes all at once. But generally, in our bass world, people want to hear one note at a time from us. And that works well with any recording or in a room. And instead of playing all of those notes of the chord simultaneously, why not play them one note at a time? Same effect. You're still spelling out the important parts. Well, in this episode, we're going to explore how to use a chromatic approach and leading tones to add real sophistication and depth to your lines. A well-crafted walking bass line, think of it like this. A great bass line is kind of like the narrator in a movie. Now, work with me for a second. Just like if you cut out all the rest of the movie except for the narrator's part, yeah, you'd be missing something, but you'd be able to follow the story, right? That's what the narrator does. Well, just like that, the bass part helps you follow the song. A good bass part will never let you down. You'll never be lost if you're listening just to that part, to that bass part. A great bass part grounds you with the song, or like the narrator in a movie, and just following that one voice will inform you about the whole thing, right? Well, parts 1 and 2 were episode 26 and episode 29. And if you listen to those episodes, you have an idea of where I'm going to go. Bass lines begin with the root, almost always. And then we identify the next most important notes of our chord. If it's a major chord, probably the major third and the fifth. If it's a minor chord, the minor third and the fifth. And then we can continue that on. Maybe we'll add the seventh of the chord if you're into such things. We talked last week, or last time, episode 29, about using pentatonic scales, right? Pentatonic scales, those 5-note miracles that are sort of, you can kind of think of them as like the important notes of a chord, of a major chord, of a minor chord. You can kind of think of them like that. Well, let's just start by revisiting our old pal, the minor pentatonic, the A minor pentatonic. A minor pentatonic. If you'll remember, I've got my my trusty guitar here. A minor pentatonic is spelled A, C, D, E, G, A. A, C, D, E, G, A. I'll play it for you. A, C, D, E, G, A. Okay, very simple. No sharps or flats. Those are the 5 notes of our pentatonic scale. And if we wanted to make a great bass part, we could just connect those. Let's start on A, and then think 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick any notes. I don't hate that. That's kind of nice. How about these 4 notes? Okay, you can hear those notes playing out. You can hear the pentatonic scale working, and that's a perfectly acceptable bass part, perfectly acceptable walking part. Now, for a little bit of jazzy cool, how about using chromatic notes to connect those dots? If the notes are dots, maybe you've got a road map, a fretboard map in your mind, right? Kind of like a chord diagram. How could you connect 2 of those notes chromatically? That means using the frets in between. Well, many of them are just 2 frets apart, like A and G. So what I'm talking about is playing A to G, then G sharp, the note that's in between. Okay, there's 3 notes. How about if I played A on the downbeat, and then played G, G sharp, and the 4th note would be A. And if I repeat, the first note will also be A, okay? So it goes A, G, G sharp, A, G, G sharp, A. Very simple. Doesn't walk around too much, but it is technically a walking part. Okay, let's keep that. That'll be bar 1. Bar 2, I'm going to actually play, instead of A to G, I'm going to say A to E. I'm going to play A, E, G, G sharp, and that's all 4. Now I'm back to A again. A. So putting my 2 measures together, I've got not too bad. That's starting to sound like a walking bass part. Pretty neat. Chromatic notes using the one that's in between. Well, let's expand that. Let's take it down the octave. Let's start on the low A. Next note in the pentatonic scale would, of course, be C. Now let's chromatically connect the next 2 notes of the scale, which were D and E. Okay, what if I went... Okay, so I'm playing A, C, and now I'm going to connect chromatically D to E and G to A. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that also is beginning to sound a little bit like a bass line. It adds a little bit of suspense having those chromatic notes, doesn't it? A little bit of mystery. And it's a lot jazzier than playing just the straight minor pentatonic. So a note about what I was just doing. I was connecting D to E through the note D sharp. Right? So open D string, D sharp, which is the 1st fret, E, the 2nd fret. Again, onto the G string, add 1 fret, G sharp, up to A. That's a chromatic approach. And those notes also could be called leading tones. The notes that I'm referring to are the sharp notes, D sharp and G sharp. They're leading because your ear really wants to hear D sharp go to E. Don't you just want to hear this note? Oh, let's hear it again without the last note. Oh, I really want to hear him play E. That sort of tension is created by what's called a leading tone. So the D sharp really wants to resolve to E, and the G sharp really wants to resolve to its neighbor A, leading tones. So there you have it, chromatic notes and the concept of leading tone. Well, let's connect the dots in an even bigger way using a major pentatonic pattern. Major pentatonic sounds like this. This, of course, is my old friend C major pentatonic, C, D, E, G, A, C. C, D, E, G, A, C. Well, a pentatonic bass line using those notes might sound like... Now, what if I decide to connect some dots? I decide to connect the third, which sounds like that note right there, E, to the fifth, G. I'm playing that with my fourth finger. C, E, G. Now I'm going to connect those chromatically. See how I'm connecting the third and the fifth? What if I keep that going? Ooh, how about the sixth? That's also in the major pentatonic, and I connect that all the way back up to the upper root. Well, that would sound great. You see what I'm doing there? 1, 2, 3, 4 are the beats. The next strong beat, the downbeat of the next measure, is the fifth of that scale. And then I'm continuing on. 6, chromatic, chromatic, back to the root. Chromatic notes and leading tones. They're your friend. They create a real propulsion of that bass part by offering the release when you hit the important notes of your pentatonic scale, and also the tension as we're waiting to get there, the notes in between. So it's providing a real push. It's like getting a tailwind for your bass part. Well, if you're a bass player, and this is all sounding pretty interesting, walking bass parts, very important to all bass playing, I've got something for you, a brand new book. Head on over to my site, seeingmusicbooks.com. Seeingmusicbooks.com. You'll find my brand new books are there. I'm very proud. They're really an excellent way to begin your scale journey. They're called Beginning Bass Scales and Exercises. And also there's a left-hand version, Beginning Left-Hand Bass Scales and Exercises. This is a great way to begin really getting scales to work for you, to get them under your fingers. Starts you off from square one, working in very familiar and commonly used keys, and focusing on both major and minor scales, and really beginning to memorize and then put into action those scale shapes. They're sort of patterns. It's like identifying the shape of a star on a Christmas tree. You know what that looks like. That's how bass players also view their fretboard, is by sight as well as by sound. Well, beginning bass scales and exercises will begin to develop your strength, your visualization skills, and then move you forward with very practical exercises. And step by step, you're going to work through those scales in the most frequently used keys. The idea is to build confidence while giving you practical exercises you can actually use in your playing. It's not just dry theory. To make it even easier, I've included some companion videos to follow along with. It's really nice to be able to hear the exercise being played. So on our website, you'll find a streaming page, and you'll be able to watch an exercise while hearing it played. So you can check the rhythm, you can check your tone, you can check the notes, and make sure everything's moving ahead as quickly as you know it should. SeeingMusicBooks.com. Go check out Beginning Bass Scales and Exercises and Beginning Left-Handed Bass Scales and Exercises. You can check them out on the site. There's ebooks for sale there, and also the paperback. It's on sale everywhere books are sold. Well, I wouldn't be much of a bass nerd if I didn't announce that this is the point in the show and we've got to nerd out. Yeah, it's time to nerd out and get a little bit deeper. Let's take this concept of connecting the dots, chromatic notes. Let's blow it out. Let's blow it out by adding rhythmic interest. Yeah, so Walking bass parts don't always have to be just quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note. They can be a whole lot of different things. And in fact, it really helps propel the song along in the same way that leading tones, you just heard, leading tones add interest, they add drama, they add suspense that resolves. Well, you can add little metric things, little rhythmic ornaments on your bass line to also help propel it forward. Let's just see. You remember this major one that I just played? Then connecting the dots using chromatic. Now let's turn up the heat. You hear it? Just adding little bits. Now, of course, I'm swinging. I'm adding a little bit of swing element to it because I'm imagining that's the type of song that we've got. But I'm finding some little creative ways to keep it not so straight ahead, not in such a straight line, either rhythmically or harmonically. There you go. That's your nerd out. Take something extremely basic and put a little sauce on it. Add a little bit of rhythmic interest, add a little bit of harmonic interest, and take it in maybe a surprising new direction. Well, today we made a great bass player out of everybody. We explored advanced techniques for walking bass lines, including taking a chromatic approach, using leading tones, and using rhythmic variations. These concepts will help you create bass lines that are not only functional, but really musically interesting. Thank you again for subscribing to this podcast. Everybody that's buying books on seeing music books, I thank you so much. Oh, head over, by the way, I always forget, Guitar Nerd has merch, and it's all at Seeing Music Books. It's in the merch store. Check it out. There's t-shirts. There's my favorite coffee mugs, and the hats are really super cool. Let the world see your nerdiness. Don't be afraid to fly that nerd flag. If you can hear my voice, you've got great music inside of you. I know it because every person has something beautiful to say to someone else, and that someone else needs to hear you, okay? They need to connect with you through your music. The bits of technique and theory, that's just to get through the layers to what's really inside. So let's get that music that's inside out and into the world. Everybody needs to hear you, and you can do this one step at a time. Experiment this week with these techniques. See how they transform your bass lines. Guitar players, you too. I want to hear you practicing your bass parts. At some point in the song, boy, it'd be cool to hear the guitar player take over the bass playing. I think so anyway. Listen to your favorite bassists. Try to identify these elements in their playing. Until next time, have a great nerdy week. I'm Andy Schneider, and you've been listening to Guitar Nerd.